Hello, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey, and today we're going to look at the daily transit. So the sun just moved to gate 29, the gate of saying yes, the gate of the abysmal, the deep within the deep. Persistence, despite difficulties, has its inevitable rewards. So it is the gate of the good fortune, um, success, part of the channel of the success where others fail, uh, might fail. And it is about staying with the process until the end. And then success and good luck comes, because good luck is when preparedness meets opportunity, if you think about it. It's when we have this saying Bulgarian, when the birdie gets on your shoulder once, are you gonna catch it or are you gonna let it go? Will it come again or will it not? So the 29th gate, and that's a mechanical function. We have the sacral center here. So this is a motor and it's not the center of awareness. It's not part of the three centers of awareness. So it's a motor, and saying yes is a mechanical function. It can be it's a tantric channel, one of the three tantric channels. So this is power, sacred power, directly connected to the self, the direction, and the love. In this case of the body, in the 46th gate. But in general, the G center is the center of love, and it's not about personal love, actually. It's impersonal. It's about love for humanity. It's about love for the inanimate, love for the uh, extremes, and being in the flow. Um, and it is about being in the flow, being in the right direction. And here, since we have the part of the circuit, the abstract circuit, the cyclical circuit, we have the format of growth and development, which is a cyclical energy which has a beginning, middle, and end. So the 2946 energy is about engaging with the correct things, starting the correct things, and seeing them through the end, being in the process, completely diving in the process, not thinking about it. There is no thinking here. It's very far from thinking. It's about experiencing and being completely absorbed in the experience. And only when it is over, we have to take it one thing at a time, process it, so we're able to be a discovery. This is the channel of discovery, to make a discovery. But the discovery you can only make when the situation has passed and you are able to look behind you after everything's finished away from emotionality. So we have here the stream of the abstract stream of um, uh, yeah, of thinking and uh, so it's about being in the wave. Just a second, I want to check something. Hmm. Yeah, it's about completion. It's about completion. It finishes in the gate of completion. So we have before completion and after completion. And or it's the other way around. Before completion and after completion. So it's the other way around. And it is going through the entire process, the whole abstract sharing, stream sharing your experience at the end, um, but able to go deep within the deep, to persist through all these difficulties, and at the end, get your inevitable rewards. That's what luck is. When preparedness meets the opportunity to jump on the train, say yes to the correct things, and embark on a journey of discovery or not. So it's an interesting gate, the 29 gate. Those people are like, yes, 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 yes. So, do you want to work for me? Yes. Do you want to spend your time doing this for me? Yes. Do you want to help me with something? Yes. So, it's getting all these engagements and all these tasks and lists and things you find yourself um maybe not even having the energy for and engaging with them. Imagine we have a projector here. So it's not about doing, and you have the inclination of saying yes to everything. So the lesson here is to learn when to say no, because yes is automatic, no can be the antipode of that, if we can say. So, talking about the stream, mm, let's look in the I Ching. So here we have, as I said, the tantric energy to empower the determination of the self. It is the gate of the sacral saying yes. This is the fuel to persevere despite the circumstances. This is the gate of loading up on piles of commitments and responsibilities so there will be something to persevere about. The trick is to say yes to what is correct. The secret, as always with this circuit, the sensing circuit is waiting. The power to persevere is conditioned directly by the format energy, the 40 to 53. Perseverance is also cyclical, and what we're committed to one day may no longer be of interest the next because the wave dominates. This is the same, the circuit, the sensing circuit. Um, and basically, this center is not aware, and the drive to say yes can be overwhelming. So it is essential to remember that experientially, what one commits oneself to must be completed. So if you engage with this circuit, it's an experience, it's a cyclical experience. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you start at the beginning, you have to finish, even when it is the incorrect thing. You have to finish it. So you have to be very careful, and especially for projectors, by the way, and especially in relationships. Because imagine a projector needs to be invited in the relationship. And we have a projector day here. But something to think about, needs to be invited in the correct relationship and needs to wait for that, for the recognition. And if you automatically say yes to an incorrect relationship, this can go on for practically one entire cycle of 7 years. So important, especially for projectors, for the important things in their life, career, relationships, whether love ones, friendships, or professional relationships, about where they live, the place, and what they work. So those four things are super important for the projector, that they wait with their strategy, wait for the invitation, and take decision whether they're recognized, whether they really feel seen, and whether this is the correct invitation, and they can accept this dance invitation, this invitation to pirouette together with the other being, usually energy being, through the entire universe, if you will. So that's how important it is to say yes to life. By the way, this is the gate also connected to saying yes to death, in the death process of also very interesting part of human design, by the way. There is the design of death and the road which each person goes through, called the bardo. But we're not getting there, of course. Just a small interesting fact. So the 29th gate, it's really showing us our process of what it is to be informed. We have on the other side the 46th, the love of the body. So being in a form and being correct in this form of saying yes to life, or not, or not. And actually you can see it in where we're grounded, because we have here the abysmal, the gate of the perseverance. We're going to look in a second in the lines, but we're grounded in the clinging fire, the gate of feelings, the gate of fates. So the fates will be good to us only if we persevere, if we set yes to the correct things with which we have the energy and stamina to go through. It's a process. It's a cyclical process with beginning, middle, and end. I keep on repeating it, but that's the essence of this stream. So let's look now at the different lines of the abysmal. So we have the first line, the draftee, which was 2 days ago, the ability to adapt, to struggle when necessary, but not as permanent state. So it's an innate nature to apply energy in times of war and peace, the power to persevere when necessary, but not generally, only when really necessary. And the detriment, a deep impressionability whose mark from times of struggle may make a return to normal conditions extremely difficult. Hesitation in making commitments based on past experience. And this is actually the, I was thinking, I like to do those. I started this process of doing the transit, connected the transit field of the day, but connected to the changing of the sun earth gates through the wheel, which lasts for about 5.5 days. So, of course, if the transits are something like the weather, and now illustrated a little bit later with the video, but if it's something like a weather, and I'm predicting the weather or something like that, I should do it, of course, before the weather comes, right? Logical. Well, that energy is not about logic. It's about abstract. And how nice to illustrate that, guys. Um, the weather and human design have nothing to do with predictability. It's just about um, actually it's very mental to look at the transits. It's really very mental, because it's like I'm telling you this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, those are the energies, experience them. But actually, that's where the weather forecast comes in. It's not about that. It's actually telling you this is what you should be careful about, you know? Still, it is a process which we can only figure out and only really understand its true meaning through time, through the distance of time, through the wisdom of time. We have the 33rd gate in that stream. It is retreat. To be able to retreat, look at the past. The abstract is about the past, so that we can learn something from the past, so that we can um, have the experiential way, the experience, and be able to share it with the rest of the world for the better good of humanity. Like logic tries to predict, here we learn from the past, but with the same aim, to share. That's the keyword. To share with the others, whether they like it or not. And here we have a projector, so you have to be invited first before you talk, before you speak. I'm going to say something about this channel in a second. So this is the what I wanted to say, that I'm not telling you this is what you should go through. On the opposite, there might be nothing for you in this transit, or there might be something to learn, to expand your understanding of, and or your feeling of, or your experience, discovery. Maybe not. It's all about your strategy and authority, because it's all about your movie. And this is why I'm doing the transit, so that you are not in the planet's movie, in the program's movie, which is going on everywhere around you. So, what I wanted to say, the whole point was, no, I don't have to do the transit of the day at the beginning or prior to the transit. Actually, it's much easier to do it while you're in the transit, because you feel it yourself. You're at the moment experiencing it. And yet, I'm doing it right in the middle. It's now the third line. So I didn't even wait for the whole process to finish, which might have been the smartest, maybe, because here it's about being in the process and only being able to assess it after it's finished. But my energy to do this, talk to you now, this life is, it just came now. And actually, the moon changed to 25, to gate 20, contemplation, the gate of direction of the now, in the gate of realism. And I was just about to press my record button, you know. So things just happen when you're in the flow. They happen with you in the flow. You don't have to predict them. Some people in human design, for instance, they plan their dates to do something according to the transit field. Come on, this is so artificial. Life is a pulse. You can never force the moment. It's about being in the moment. It's not playing with time. It's not playing with anything, actually. It is being true to yourself, being true to you. No games, no play. The program is playing with us, though. The gods have a sense of humor. And this is what we're exploring with the transit field. And this is what the 29th gate teaches us. There is no truth in the now. There is only the experience in which we dove completely. And the sense will only come later. When we're ready to retreat, to look at it from an eagle's eye, from the distance of time, without the vulnerability of the emotional perspective, through the wave, not clear, but with time getting that clarity needed to be able to remove layers and layers of glass or like mm, contact lenses, you know? You remove contact lenses and you see clearer and clearer and clearer until you find something, a discovery of sort. So let me actually do that video because I anyway stopped my flow. Not my flow goes perfect. I mean, I stopped on the first line of the 29th gate. So I anyways interrupted the whole thing to talk about the transits in general. And I want to share with you a video in which it's just a fun thing. I want to show you. Mm, hold on. Where is it? Mm. Mm. Now I should be able to see it. Okay, yes. Here it is. Enjoy. Oops. So guys, this for me represents actually the transit field. Um it's just oops.
Well, I auditioned in 2007.
Okay.
Wearing a dress.
We don't want that. So it's It's there. Do you have the eyes to see what is there for you? Not what the program gives you to see, but what is there for you with the perfect timing of the program, of course. Because the program is perfect. So let's go back to the lines. We have the second line of the 29th gate is called assessment. And I didn't finish my point that now I'm doing it in the middle of times. So in the middle of the week, we're already in the third line of the 29th. So it's interesting that you can check out what happened in your life just the previous 2 days when it was the first line, the draftee, and the second line, the assessment. So yesterday was the assessment. Persistence tempered by caution. The power of sustainment is a guiding light, saying yes and the power to persevere, or the detriment, a tendency to overcautiousness when persistence is perceived as adding to rather than ending disharmony. Caution in saying yes when perseverance leads to disharmony. And this is something we should have seen in the last yesterday, and the draftee, the ability to adapt to struggle when necessary, but not as a permanent state the previous day. So here we have indeed the treasure that I'm doing transit field, and you can immediately check out what happened the previous days and whether you can see that the programming at work and what was happening to you. And actually, the thing is that when you hear about the transit field, you can then listen to what's going on around you, the conversations of people and the news, especially, and everything is, you can really see the program at work and everybody like a doll on strings, just repeating what the energy of the program dictates them to. This is why the reflector is so special, because they're the only ones who can purely experience the program without any fixedness in them. The program can bring them fixedness or not, but that's why it's so special, and that's why they can feel and spot the difference, the person which is ready to break out of the pattern, who's different, and then they're surprised. So we all have this potential to break from the pattern and still be in perfect resonance and harmony and um, even dissonance um, can be correct. You never know. But in general, we're talking about being in the correct circumstances and being in the correct vibration, which aligns you to those correct circumstances. So, of course, dissonance is something which we can take as a red flag, like you're not on track. So let's go to the third line, which we're right now in the evaluation. Um, in this context, properly assessed inaction. Despite the urge and cost of inaction, the knowledge that it is sometimes better to fight another day, the power to wait. And see, I had the power to wait until I have energy to really have fun doing this transit, not forcing myself to do it earlier because it's better, or that's what I'm expected, and so on and so on, some mind games. No, I did it when I have energy for that. And I'm a fifth line. So just as I was getting ready, the moon went to the fifth line and confirmed that this was my. It's like I love those synchronicities. They just confirm that everything is like so smooth operator. That's what human design brings us. It brings us alignment on the path of the least resistance. Yep. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's the least resistance path. So Despite the urge and cost of inaction, the knowledge when to wait, or a preference for withdrawal in principle with little regard for effect, the inability to make commitments, the power of caution or being over caution. And it's an open center, so you can definitely act inadequate and be over cautious and not say yes to the correct things. So it's about strategy and authority, no matter what the transit field, because it's always this and that. We live in a duality. The detriment and the exaltation are not the good and the bad. They're just the two sides of the same coin. We are a duality trying to get into a singularity, if you think about it. Right? In the magnetic monopole, the personality and the design in one, the body and the soul. Fourth line will be tomorrow, directness. So see how lucky. Today we went through the first three lines, so we can see what we experienced the previous days, what we experienced today, and tomorrow will be directness. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Of course, the fourth line looks for the straight line, for the opportunity there, and the wisdom to use the simplest and most direct approach to solve difficulties, the power to commit oneself to the simplest and most direct process, or the detriment, simplicity, and directness, all too often seen as inharmonic and aesthetically crude. The power of directness often offends others. That's true, isn't it? So when you're directly saying no, for instance, or yes, and that's why there is no truth in the now in general, we can sound so certain, and then we close our ways. We burn the bridges in the third line, and in the fourth line, boom, directness, and that can be very offending. So watch tomorrow for the over directness of people, or um that looks really crude and aesthetically disharmonic, and you will be um offended by that. Even listen to the news, just listen to the news, it will be there. So then we will go to the fifth line, and the overreach, the tendency to bite off more than one can chew. The sun exalted, where the drive is in the design and not ambition driven, the uncontrollable drive to say yes. Failed ambition, saying yes, overextending one's resources, and failing to persevere. So be careful not to bite more than you can chew, or in that case, be able to return or to spit the bigger part, so you don't choke yourself. Uh yeah, and this is about projections from the other, so they'll be projecting that you're either the villain or the saint. Usually it starts with the saint, so we have an advantage here. We're lucky, lucky, lucky. So let's go to confusion, sixth line. The state that exists when momentum outstrips awareness, driving blind, and given Mars energy and determination, often blind luck, the power to persevere that makes no sense. And the detriment, so this was the exaltation in Mars, the Martian energy, immature energy, which needs to with time gain experience on when is the right momentum, so you don't outstrip the awareness. So the detriment is a tendency in Uranus, a tendency in confusion to withdraw rather than accept the condition and continue to persevere. The power in confusion to caution rather than saying yes. So the power when you're confused to caution and stay and not say yes, not get engaged. That's the sixth line. It only engages when it's correct, when it is the soulmate, and when it really sees, they will not get engaged if they'll not come down from the roof if it's not for the real thing, for something really of value. So those are the energy which we're gonna feel in the sun. So what 70% of the energy in this field for the next 5.5 days, grounded in the 30th gate. So we have right now it's in the third line, resignation. I'll do very quickly the previous two lines just so that we're in harmony. So composure 2 days ago, pragmatism, and today we're in the resignation. So pragmatism is the balance between the different extremes, and composure is balance when you're put in front of a mess, in front of chaos. And now we're at resignation, the acceptance of what is, the awareness and manifestation of the law of regeneration, the laws of the karma, reincarnation and resurrection, the feeling to accept what is, the tendency by its very knowledge to encourage or avoid despair, the positive or negative feelings which come with acceptance of what is. Oh, that's so beautiful. Love it. The fates in the third gate, in third line, sorry. So then tomorrow we're in burnout. So be careful not to burn out. Unrealistic tempo, which looks for trouble. And then we have the fifth gate, irony, recognition, and dedication to transitory goals. And the sixth line, enforcement, the discipline to maintain the right action. And still the nodes of the moon are in gate 2 and gate 1. Fifth lines, those are my lines. My sun, earth are here. So my sun is in the receptive, the gate of direction of the self. Fifth line, intelligent application. The strategies with Mercury exalted, reasoned management of resources, higher knowing as a gift for strategy. So that's my gift to bring when recognized new direction eventually. So with the transit field, maybe that's what's happening. Who knows? The inability to share responsibility or recognize the abilities of others. That's me. Higher knowing is an exclusively individual and selfish process. That's true. That's true. Sometimes I think, the neck of the wolf is so thick because he does his job by himself. And then I don't share the responsibility with anybody else. And I do most of the work in the team. Good that I'm a generator and I love it. But back then I wasn't really following my strategy and authority. So when I was working in teams, and we have the first line, the creative, the gate of self-expression in exalted, the energy to attract society. Mars exalted for its power for ego endurance, the power and drive to stay with the creative process. So yeah, also true. And the nice thing is that right now it is connected with the 8th gate, because when especially in my case, when it's in an undefined center, only a definition lights it up, because otherwise it's a dormant sleeping gate. So right now we have the G center defined by the 1-8, the channel of inspiration, and thus this energy is present, and my sun, earth are litten, so they're activated in the first gate, fifth line, the energy to attract society, and second gate, fifth line, the gate of direction of the self, intelligent application. But let's look at the channel of inspiration. It's there for quite some time now, several days. And it's actually, it links the throat center through the eighth gate, the gate of contribution, holding together, to the first gate, the gate of the creative in the G center, the identity, love, and direction. This is the channel of the creative role model. And here we see the expression of the self to demonstrate its unique creativity. Um, this channel, it's one of the projected leadership channels, like the 731, 1333, and 2010. So it offers leadership from a place of personal creative authority, and it speaks from itself, from the self. So it can be very vulnerable to what it says if somebody's challenging them, for instance, or making fun of them, because the creative role model empowers or disempowers others. And this is actually it's the one, the creative channel um here. And uh many inspiring artists have this channel, who you see how they play and you're like super inspired. Whoa, if they can do it, I can do it. It's a very yang energy. The first gate is with 60 yang lines, so it's very powerful immutative force. And through the access to the throat, it can become expressed, this energy. It has the potential to transform the lives of those who hear it. It is very also connected to sound. It's very the individual, it's an individual channel. And they're very much connected to sound, and to the inner guidance, inner voices. We even have the 23rd gate. It is from Uranus, so which is really connected to the inner ear in the 43rd gate. So that's a melancholic energy we can feel in the air. A lot of individuality here, and as you can see, quite a number of activations also in an open solar plexus. Um, so let's continue with the moon, the driving force, the contemplation, the gate of direction of the now, in the fifth line, realism. Contemplation in and of itself is no guarantee of success. This is exactly what we were talking about. Um, it's not about contemplating, it's not about understanding, it's about experiencing, and it's about um, gaining the experience and being there, done that, jack of all trades at the end, to be it's and that's not sure, unless it's the correct thing, it will not bring us success. So it's not a guarantee for success, contemplation. Only being in the right flow, in the right tantric direction, empowered or powered. Empowerment is more individual. So powered by the power of the ego to say yes to the correct things. So when concentration on detail results in a perfected form, the success of expressing awareness through detail, where the reality creates dissatisfaction and adds to instability. The expression of awareness in the now through dissatisfaction with the reality one sees. And it's our driving force. So this is where our mind is focused on seeing the dissatisfaction with the reality one sees. And it's true right at this moment. An ugly reality, guys, with everything that's going on. And it's, it's too bad knowing that that's the peak of our civilization, it's so beautiful, and at the same time it's so ugly, the this and the that. Amazing. So we have Mercury, what we want to communicate, what we're thinking is conflict, the gate of friction. In the first line, retreat, the realization that wasting one's resources against overwhelming odds is not courage but folly. And the detriment, the inferiority complex, where retreat is experienced as personal weakness, emotional instability in times of conflict. So this what everybody is trying around to communicate. And that will be something we will be definitely seeing in the news for some time. Mm, so, yep, till the 24th of um, August. Then we go into Venus, our values and moral values and relating, which is connected to our laws. So when the values and laws are not followed, we're punished by and restricted by Saturn. So let's look at the moral values. It's in the gate of retreat and see what just we read earlier. Emotional instability in times of conflict and retreat is experienced as personal weakness, but at the same time, we have to follow our moral values so that we are not punished and restricted by Saturn, and they are in the gate of retreat. See, the program has a sense of humor. It's in the third line, spirit, the attitude that turns retreat into victory, guys. The responsible and principled retreat based on preservation, but with determination to persevere. Privacy as a path to success. A lack of responsibility in retreat. The bridge burner, a drive for privacy that will cut off its relationships, often abruptly. Yeah, we're in the third line. Trial and error here. Don't burn the bridges when you interrupt and when you break the relationship, because this might change. It is also part um, of this stream of awareness and uh, in the stream of sensing. So it's also emotional. So there is no truth in the now. Mm, so even when you, and it can be correct that you break the relationship and you break the bond, don't burn the bridge, because you don't know tomorrow. It might be that you want again to be with this person, or after 5 years or 10 years or whatever. Just don't have in mind, don't burn the bridge. Leave there something like a small hair to which you can, find a way back if you need it. If not, it's discovery. Continue, go ahead, go on next. And then we have Mars, the energy dynamics, the immature energy, explosive energy, which is here to be harnessed, and great creative potential in the holding together the gate of contribution. We saw it in the channel 8-1. And it's in the sixth line, communion, the certainty which grows out of harmony, the awareness of patterns that ensure correct timing, the gift of knowing when to contribute creatively, doubt which may engender regret even in the most ideal circumstances, uncertainty in timing, and regret despite the circumstances. It's about timing, yeah. Also saying yes in the correct timing to the correct people and the correct invitation and the correct, it's generator channel. So tantric channel. So it's the correct source of energy, something which ignites your energy, which makes you go, yeah, this really makes my energy tick. It wants me to engage. I feel the stamina to go through this whole process of beginning, middle, and get to the end, make a discovery eventually. We have Jupiter, law and protection in the gate of following the gate of opinions. So we're going to hear quite some opinions. And it's connected to law and protection. So if that's not followed, there are restrictions. In the fifth line, no human is an island. The recognition, however, understood that there is no end to hierarchies, the ultimate creative expression of interdependency, whether as God's will or global synthesis, opinions that can express the value of being organized, whether mundane or spiritual. The arrogance, despite all the evidence to claim that the buck stops here, the possibility of opinions that refuse to see the value of being organized. So projecting on those opinions the ancient law that those who wish to rule must know how to serve, and no human is an island. So it's about expressing and organizing and expressing those opinions um, when you're invited in the right timing, so you engage correctly and say yes to the correct uh, recognitions to understand when to end to hierarchies, so that we are not restricted and disciplined and limited in Saturn by the gate of revolution, the gate of principles in third line. So a lot of third lines and fifth lines, a lot of third and fifth lines in the transit today. Popular discontent, the ability to destroy antiquated forms once the restrictions have been removed, the potential insensitivity to reject failed principles or relationships, and Pluto in detriment with general support, a savageness in eliminating the old order that may permanently scar the new, insensitivity in rejecting and in rejection and rejecting. The gate of sensitivity, the gate of the butcher. So popular discontent if we don't follow actually the principles and the moral values, to retreat and to follow your opinion, knowing that you're not alone. No man is an island. Then we have the unusualness, chaos, and innovation in Uranus in the 23rd gate, which is splitting apart the gate of assimilation in first line, proselytization, the attempt to undermine one set of values for another. The sage who in the extreme can define the evil as part of the greater good, the powerful expression of an insight which will undermine established values. And the detriment, the missionary whose very light will bring darkness, the powerful expression of an insight which will produce negative effects. Oh, I love it. It can be both. The sage who can be evil as part of the greater good, or the light will bring, the missionary whose very light will bring darkness. It's just so beautiful. It's nothing to explain. It's just, that's the thing. The I Ching does not need explanation. It needs that you connect, because it's speaking the truth. It's about the truth, and truth resonates even if you don't understand. So you don't need to understand. It talks to you in another level, on a tone level, actually, the sound. That's why it's not so important that you see, unless of course you have cognition like me, outer vision and or inner vision, whatever. But here we have Neptune still in the darkening of the light, the gate of crisis, for quite some time. So behind the veil is the transition in the third line, the point at which decline has exhausted its power, the ability to establish a new order out of the ashes of the old, the emotional depth to endure crisis and embrace change. The changing times of our times, definitely. They're changing so fast. The tendency in renewal to try to assimilate the remains of the old order into the new, with the risk that it may rise against the new order once it has regained its strengths. The embrace of the change, but with feelings that will not let go of the past. It's inevitable that we always, there is a little struggle and crisis when we move from one cycle to another cycle, from one there is a little friction there when those two energies meet. There is a little crisis, and it behind veil we don't know exactly what's going on. But it is an energy which is kind of preparing us for what's coming. Look how much individual energy. The cross of the sleeping phoenix, it's about 3420 and 59.6. So it's quite an individual energy. 3420 and 59.6 is tribal emotional friction energy. So here you see we're being prepared. Um, and uh, indeed, it's about um, being stuck a little bit in the old. Like imagine those butterflies coming out of their cocoon, or the snake coming out of its old skin. Mm, there is a little friction there. There is a little crisis until you are able, or the duck or the chicken coming out of the egg. It has to break through. And from the egg to come the new life, the duckling, the chicken, the new age, the sleeping phoenix, to get out of the cross of planning and bring us across to the new. And Pluto, the truth transformation in psychology, um, in the gate of limitation, the gate of acceptance, in the first line acceptance, the ability to maintain inner harmony when confronted by external limitations, harmonic energy that can deal with external limitations, the drive for diversity that when limited can become restless and agitated, restless energy when confronted with external limitations. And indeed, we're quite limited in a lot of things. We're on the verge of recession around the world, gas crisis, energy crisis, grain crisis, um, those mm, that you because they use in standard agriculture. So maybe that's something good at least. They use those pesticides and stuff for the crops, and there is now a big crisis for that because of the war in Ukraine. Because they're a big exporter of those synthetic. I think they're synthetic. So maybe that's one good thing that there'll be at least a little bit towards regenerative agriculture and no-till, hopefully. But there are a lot of limitations also because a big inflation and close to stagnation even, but and the salaries are staying on the same level. So we're quite limited in the resources as well, in the money. Um, we can see that, and we are finding our ways around. Somehow we're surviving. That's the transit field of the day. And for the next few days, uh, wait for the right timing to be invited to speak your insights in the now, be able to retreat so that you get a new creative direction, to say yes to the correct things and ground yourself where the fates will support you and not laugh at you. So you follow your convictions and principles in friction, conflict, and crisis to overthrow the limitations, find a way around to transcend into new ways and new order. Totally inadequate what to be afraid of and what mm, to be intuitive about and what is healthy. So we have to be even more alert, especially if you have undefined here the intuitive knowing, the spleen. We have completely undefined will center, not knowing what to will, not knowing when to will it and how to do it, how to will it, not knowing when to persist and to give promises and compare, evaluate, and put willpower into achieving and supporting. Completely open head, not knowing what to think, not knowing what to be inspired about, not knowing when it's enough opinions being expressed, or trying to overcompensate the uncertainty with fact, throwing or exaggerating here, with quite some dormant gates. So that's in the emotional center. So those are all possibilities for the other side when it meets to ignite here emotionality. So be careful of emotional decisions, not knowing when enough is enough, avoiding truth and confrontation, not knowing when to stop, and hurry to be free from the limitations, which can bring unhealthy decisions in a hurry to reach transformation and metamorphosis in the now. But only strategy and authority are those forces which can surpass the mind and the bullshit of the pain that the mind is talking through in the openness, and surpass the transit field and stick your head through the program. You know that image, the previous logo of Jovian, which Ra loved so much? Well, that's exactly what happens, guys, when you follow your strategy and authority, because you see the picture for what it is. You see the real movie, your movie, and you become the main actor, not the furniture, as they call the other actors, which are just around the main character, being part of the um, surrounding, not taking real part of the movie. So this is Veronica with Human Design Journey. It was a pleasure for me to give you another umbrella for the transit of the day. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.